I'm going to go ahead and start recording just to record this session. And
Sure.
this is March 30th, and this is with the Chicago cohort. And we're going to talk a little bit about the delivery phase, and then we can just kind of talk about and even work on creating some of these ideas about what the plan is. And just kind of look at a couple of them. We're going to look at, I think we looked at Xavier's. And then we can also, I think we will go ahead and look at day school, just because, so you can see it doesn't have to be anything intricate or involved. It's just to get ideas started and to think about things. So it's not a big deal, really isn't. So I just wanted to go through that. Okay, with the delivery phase, I have the document up, and can you see that? No?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Is it too small? Are you on your iPad, Daniel?
I am, but I can see it.
Oh, okay, good.
I can't even read it, actually.
You really? Yeah. You're looking at it like, it looks like it's like, eh.
Yeah, it's a little screen.
Okay, well, that's okay. So the design review in EPICS, when you get ready to deliver your final project, you go through a design review. And it's kind of like, remember how we talked about the milestones? And Josh just came on. So that's good. So he's coming on. So we'll keep going, and then we'll talk with Josh here in a second. So Josh, when you hear us, just start chiming in, and we'll hear you. Josh, you there? Okay. But what you try to do at the end is the kids are presenting their project and presenting all of the documentations, or a lot of the documentations that have brought them to the final project. And so this final gate, has these are the most important documents that go through the engineering design process. So if you look at the overview, and these are things you really, and even Felix, I know you're talking about doing this as an after school, these are the documents and these are the processes that they have to go through. They really do need to go through this to have a credible project. So they will go through a project charter, they will get through that, and then they will go through a Gantt chart, and a Gantt chart, we had a discussion about whether they could use just a timeline or a Gantt chart, and either way is fine. If you find that they could do better with just a timeline, that's fine. But if you're wanting to really push them to the higher level of engineering design, they can learn how to use a Gantt chart. I know in I was thinking about through teaching, sometimes we don't think kids can do as much as they can, and we sometimes dummy down when they really can learn things and they really can use the vocabulary, and it's remarkable what kids can do. I was thinking about a project that we were doing with kindergartners, and it was on fabrics, and they knew, well, first graders were doing liquids, and they were talking about the viscosity, and just really interesting vocabulary, but they could use it, and they knew it. It's just people weren't used to hearing it with kids. And then the specifications, the decision matrices, which we've talked about all the way up to this point, the DFMEA rating, which we talked a little bit about last week, about the failure rating, and seeing if the kids really do look at their project on what could fail, so that they make a good decision about how to redesign and come up with and think about how that might happen, that it would fail. And then all of their testings, because they have field testing, they have safety analysis, they have their usability and reliability testing. So those are three big testings that they need to go through, and we'll talk about that. And then their budget materials and their user manuals, and have a working prototype. So in 5, and your design review, they go through all of that, and they talk about those pieces. And we talked about the project charter in 2. And so they just present that information and remind your kids that this document can change. It doesn't have to always stay stagnant. Just like what you guys are doing with your project and just a planner, it will not stay the same, I hope. I'm hoping that as you get into this and you find additional resources and people, that you change it, because it should be a living document. And your specifications, again, the specifications don't necessarily, I wonder if I can, I was going to see if I could, I can't, thought I could make it bigger, but I don't think I can. So you got your specifications, which we talked about before, your Gantt chart, the decision matrix, which we again talked about in 3, and your DFMEA, the failure mode. Then all of the different testings that we have and that are written into the curriculum. Most of those testings, and if you're just looking for a document, go into 4, because 4 is where you'll find your all of the testing modules, the safety analysis, and your usability and reliability and field testing. Okay? Is there questions about anything I've said to this point? No? Okay. Hey, while we're breaking here, Josh, can you hear us?
Yeah, hey.
Hey, good. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, sorry I'm running a little late. Our school day ends at 4.
Oh, not a problem. Not a problem at all. So we were just going through 5 and talking about the ending, the design review. Okay, we got one other person coming in here. And it's Roberta. Yay, Roberta.
Hi there. Sorry we're late.
That's okay. Are you getting your camera on?
Colby's there.
Okay, she's working on her camera. And I'm going to try to send this, let you be a presenter in a minute. So I'm going to try this real quick and see if I can change it over, just kind of see if I can change it over to Roberta.
Okay. Now, this is Pete's project, really.
Okay.
So are you,
well,
are you sure?
I'm just trying to check it and see if it'll work. Okay?
Okay.
I'm just trying to see if I'm going to see if I can send it over to her. So right now, are you seeing Roberta's face? The rest of you?
Yep.
No.
Yes? Okay, good. Great. Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and take it back for a minute. And then okay. Hopefully you're seeing my screen again.
I always saw your screen.
Okay. You didn't see, okay. You at all? Okay. Well, we'll have to see.
I see both. I always saw both.
Okay. Okay. And well, and then while we were talking about, Roberta is going through getting ready for a design review and the different documents that are in Gate 5 to get ready for a design review. So that's what we're talking about, and just in 5. And I want to make sure that you're seeing screen 2. And here comes Pete. So we're going to turn it over to Pete in a little while. Okay. So again, your field testing, and then the user manuals, the budget, and materials list. Okay. So that is kind of what our design review is. And design review is where they take all of their testing data and show it and present it to each other, administrators, could even be to the project partner. So it's just that piece of going on and showing and presenting the final project. Okay. So again, this guide just kind of gives you what is in your design review, what you're going to find, what's going to be there, and explains it. So this is just so that the kids have a really good framework to do it. So it's not just, okay, present, and they're going, well, what do I present? If you've got this, it's like, okay, these are all the documents that we suggest you have. And you as the teacher, you know your kids better than anybody, and you know what they work through and walk through. So if you find that it's too cumbersome, do what you need to do. But these pieces will give you a quality, authentic project, I believe. Any thoughts about that? Okay. Okay. Well, what I'm yeah.
This goes back a little bit, but since it's folding into this gate as well, have you used, like, what ages have you seen the Gantt chart used with, and how's that gone? And I'm curious about that because my role within Latin at least focuses around entrepreneurship, and so like I would lean toward an agile methodology, especially with people checking in and out if it's kind of thing. So I'm wondering about the pros and cons of the Gantt chart and the warnings you might have about doing something a little different.
Well, I'll talk about it first, and then anybody else can chime in just a few minutes. Why I like the Gantt chart compared to another document is that with the Gantt chart, you have all of these things along here. It tells you who is in charge of it. It also tells you when something should be done. So I guess it's a way for kids to see that it doesn't happen at one time, that it's over a long period of time, and that this is a visual, that one thing may go through the entire semester or the entire year, you're working on it, but something else could be happening at the same time. So that is one of the reasons I like a Gantt chart compared to just a timeline, because timelines, and what kids have grown up, and you know this as well as I do, they're used to, okay, this happened in 1962, and this happened in 1968, and this happened in 72. They don't see that things happen vertically and horizontally at the same time. So that's another. Hang on one second. Make sure. I just want to make sure it's not Bill. It isn't, but I wanted to make sure it wasn't Bill calling in. So that's why I think that this type of a document would be more beneficial to kids understanding a time frame of a project rather than a timeline. But again, you're going to know your kids better than, and you're going to know what you use all the time. If you use a timeline, then use it. And if you know that that's going to work best for your kids, then use it. The only thing I would suggest is for accountability, making sure that every kid knows what their jobs are, when they have to have it completed, and how things will work. So, I don't know. Daniel, have you used... Go ahead.
And I don't think like the actual structure, like I don't think like we've used Gantt within Agile. I haven't with students ever. Right? It's like something people do. I'm just thinking this looks good. We would just be, you know, maybe more flexible around it than maybe it's in a spreadsheet instead of on a piece of paper on a board, right? Because like
it can be anything.
We're really going to be stretching these things out and moving them around based on how much. You know.
Right, and like
so that makes sense. So that
yeah, that big. If you had a board to put it all on, and they use a whiteboard and just writing things in when things have to be done, or a calendar, not a problem. That's great. It just needs to have, the main thing is having a way so that kids understand when things are due and that there are time frames. Things have to be done, and they can be done linearly. Yeah, at the same time.
right.
Okay. Anybody else want to chime in? Go ahead. Roberta, did you have something?
Yeah, I'm dealing with my seniors who now have senioritis, and we're trying to finish up our tennis balls. And so I kind of have to start imposing the dates. It's their flexibility. We really have a lot of flexibility right now. And I just heard Charles with them, and it seemed like they, were getting it because it was the per chart is. I just want to emphasize that until we get one thing done, things can't happen, and they seem to respond well to that. And then it would also allow me to, or I told them, okay, now you guys assign what task you want to do after this one thing gets done. And so it kind of broke down things into, like little pieces when they're given as much flexibility on dates. So it kind of, they don't want to be told what to do. So it kind of gave them flexibility on their end while giving me the timeline that I needed.
Great.
Right.
So what did you use? How did you have them make their PERT chart?
I was just the facilitator on the whiteboard in the front, and since all of our designs are basically, they've kind of evolved to where they're very, very similar, let's put it that way. So I had to make a list of what needed to be done next, and so we had a list of 7 things, and then I just, I just copied a PERT chart from one of your, from the curriculum to show them what an example was, and I gave a quick example saying if we were going to make a PERT chart of throwing a party, you would do this, this, and this, and you couldn't decide on the date until you knew the dates, of the hall, or if it was a wedding or something. And after you kind of read the introduction, then we were, so listing what we needed to be done was good because in some of their eyes, certain tasks were like trivial, but in my eyes, they're not trivial. So that was kind of nice that we all talked about it. And then once we understood what all the tasks were, that's when they, as groups, kind of went and made their own, and then we compared it to, we kind of combined all of our PERT charts into one.
Great. Great. So you had all of your different teams comparing their PERT charts together?
Yeah.
Great. Very good. Did they critique them?
In the time for we really had I guess they kind of critiqued them when they were deciding what they wanted to do.
Okay.
And when, and maybe once someone said, well, why not do this first? And there was a little discussion about that. So if you call that critiquing, that's it.
Great. Very good. Cool. That's great. One of the other things that if you get a chance to look up Popplet, P-O-P-P-L-E-T, it's an online kind of a mind mapping software. The kids can make their own Gantt charts, or excuse me, PERT charts on there. So it's a free program, and I think we're going to even do a little bit with that at the summer workshop. We're going to look at the Popplet. We're going to look at Flip Snacks, and we're going to, I can't remember if we're doing SolidWorks or another project or program that can be used in there. So those two in particular, I tried to stay with free because free is always good. So trying to find free software that you don't have to buy, because sometimes, well, I just know how, I mean, we are master scroungers in education, and we're always trying to find something we can use that doesn't cost us an arm and a leg or anything. So I'm always looking for that. So we're going to look at those. But Popplet is something that Janet Rambrino told me about, and I really like it. And then also Flip Snacks is a program, and I don't know if you've anybody heard of it, Flip Snacks before?
I tried it a tiny, but I need to look into that, though. That's on my list.
What's nice is that you can take your documents and put them into PDF versions, and that's an easy thing to do. And then you can put them on Flip Snacks, and they become a virtual document. So it's a nice way of putting your documents up for kids to have their projects on there, so that they have a constant view of what their documentation is for their projects. So it's something to look at, and it's in the teacher toolbox is a thing about Flip Snacks too. So that's just something to think about as another part. Okay, good. I'm glad you guys are thinking about those and the different pieces of it. And I'm never quite sure which would be best. And everybody's going to have a different idea of what's best for their kids, whether it is going to be a PERT chart or a timeline or a Gantt chart. It all depends on it's a tool. It's all it is a tool to get your kids organized. That's all it is a tool. So that's a piece of this. Okay, any questions about gate 5? Because what you're doing is you're just trying to get this to the point where they have all their documentations done so that they can present their final review of their project and have a working prototype, hopefully. That's always nice, working prototype. Okay. So we're going to go over a couple of those plannings, and I don't know, I don't know, Pete, if this is true or not, but Roberta says this is your baby.
Well, I'm thinking about doing that. I haven't decided, but yeah.
Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the screen, and I'm going to see if I can get that done. Okay. I am not seeing Pete's screen. Oh, yeah, I am. Nice. Okay. So, Pete, what we're seeing is your screen, I believe.
Okay. Meaning you're just seeing me, is that?
Well, actually, I'm seeing schedule a session right from your calendar. Go to meeting. So is that your screen right now, Pete?
I don't know. I just see people here. I don't.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, that's weird. My screen is scheduled. Is there something? But it has.
No.
That's not on his screen.
Okay. So it's not on his screen?
He sees all of us, just all of us. But on my screen, I see schedule a session right from your calendar.
Right, and that's not Pete's screen?
No.
Okay. Wonder whose screen I'm seeing.
What office? No, now I'm seeing. No, see if I can. Oh, I might be on your screen.
So, Pete, do you have a document or? There you go. Go to home.
Oh, I thought ours PDF. I thought you would have it. No?
That I would have it or Pete would have it?
No, didn't you say send it to Tom Heck?
Yeah, and Tom, I don't have access. Tom has left us, and I don't have access to his email. So, can you send it to me, or do you have it?
Can you get it up on your screen?
I mean, I can. Can they see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you go to Word, there you go. Great. Thank you. Felix and Daniel, are you seeing everything I'm seeing? Good.
I'm seeing the desktop, Explorer window. Is that what I'm supposed to see?
That's exactly it. Great.
Okay. Do we want the PDF version? Okay. You see something?
Great.
Yeah. Fine. I don't think we could prevent that. I want you to do the view. Yeah, there you go.
Nice. Very good. We can see it.
Okay. Or even, maybe, no, that's probably worse. I don't know.
Can you view? Yeah, so it's like 120% or something.
There you go. Thank you. Perfect.
That's good enough. You can just move it
Great.
around.
Fantastic.
Okay. I guess it's time for me to talk about it then. Okay. Well, we were trying to think of something that I could do as part of a classroom project. I know Roberta does something where she like spends her Fridays doing a project that does something along those lines might be workable. And it is an environmental science class, and so thought it might be creating a weather station, and that was something that the kids would have hands-on work with it. They could design, pick parts, put it together. So a lot of design experience along with gathering data that could be used in the class itself, maybe for a lab or a project, or just tracking year-round. And if that's all we did with it, it would be great, but it might also lend itself to, because the weather station would be, we might be able to expand it to collecting air and water samples as a possibility down the road. So again, if it was just one project, it would be a nice project. If we want to expand upon it, we could expand upon it to do some other testing. So it seemed like it might be a good idea, and it would be something. It's a senior class, so have a little bit more leeway with it than I do with other courses. So stakeholders in it would be really myself and the students and anybody else who might teach the course. Really, as far as the size of it, easily handled. We can, a couple of us could move it around and try to get it work. Either, like you said, as small a budget as we can, get something donated, etc. So really, the stakeholders would be the students themselves here, and it's possible we might be able to expand it, bring some younger students from somewhere else in a community or something to get them involved. Again, if we wanted to, we could just now, it's a great project either way. From the MGSS standards, we look at studying weather and climate, obviously, for the weather station. Engineering design, we could obviously buy something that's already on the market or for somebody, but I think it's something that's doable and allow the students to actually engineer and design the project. Again, at this point, the community is pretty small, just the students and the teachers, so there is a possibility of expanding. On that, down here, not a lot of social context to the community, but we're not expanding the park or helping disable like some of the other projects that I've seen. But again, I think it could be. Another student do it from other schools or lower grade levels. I would like to see it be maybe a year-long project and be able to use it either that year or into the next year, and then maybe have the next year expand on it, do some of the expansion possibilities that we had talked about. As far as the SMART things, I think it's definitely, it's pretty specific. It's measurable. We're going to finish it. We have certain tests that we want for a weather station. I think it's definitely achievable. I think everything that we need is out there, and we have some resources as far as making things. I have a club where we can make things. Roberta has some equipment we could borrow. We have some groups that have resources as well that we can do it. I think it's realistic, and I think it's something that we can get done in in the school year. The project doesn't drag on. And again, like I said, I think it does leave the possibility. I don't know if we would, but it does leave the possibility open to expanding it to to do other things that we could use for lab work.
Okay. Nice. Any questions? Felix or Daniel, do you have any questions for them about this? No. One thing I was wondering about is, do you think that it could be, I know you're thinking about how it expanded, because I think that's what happens with EPICS projects, is you start with one thing and then it just kind of, you go, oh yeah, this would be cool, this could really happen. I wonder, do you, and I don't know your clientele in your schools, do you have feeder schools that feed into Nazareth from a middle school?
Yeah, probably over 50 of them. Yeah, so we draw from quite a few communities.
Well, I'm just wondering if, because well, I was thinking about the standards, and I know that one thing that is kind of interesting that happens in Indiana, and I would bet it's similar across the in the next generation and so forth, is that in kindergarten they start talking about weather. And it would be interesting to see if your kids, as they develop this, could also talk to and create some lessons that would go along with weather for little guys as an educational outreach. So I was just kind of thinking about that.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that, and I'm sure that would be something that our school would, our administration would support. They're always looking for ways to outreach to those feeder schools. So I'm sure if we, that's not a bad idea, and I'm sure we'd get a lot of support for something like that.
Yeah, there is in kindergarten, and it's so bizarre when you look at science standards, how they don't in any way scaffold on each other. So like there is a kindergarten weather and climate, and then weather and climate doesn't come in and again until third grade. So there's weather and climate in third grade. And then I don't know whether it doesn't come in again at all in 5th, 6th, or middle school. So I don't know what you can say. So it's really kind of important that there's really strong support for little guys in kindergarten and third grade learning weather and climate, because if they don't have any background at all, then you get them up where you guys are at the high school level, and they're saying, okay, well, WGN is weather, but they don't know anything about it. So maybe another thought, and you don't talk to your kids about it, they'll come up with all kinds of things, but just thinking about an outreach as you develop this, that might be an interesting thing. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's good. And again, it's just something, trying to incorporate this. I came up with an idea, so, once the kids are involved, yeah, absolutely, they'll come up with ways to change and it, whatever the case may be.
It's a great
the thing that's really interesting to me about the kindergarten model is because so much of what we're talking about with design thinking is thinking about the client, and by having them design a weather station that they'll use, like, you do avoid the trap of accidentally designing for yourself, because it won't be an accident.
Mm-hmm.
But if you say that later on this is also going to be used by people, I don't know how that actually works, but with some fraction of the intelligence and experience and brain power because they're a decade younger, that could be a really interesting challenge for them, especially if they still have to use it. Mm-hmm. So that sounds really cool to me.
Okay. Well, it would be interesting also if you just kind of throw it out to your seniors and say, okay, we know, and just what I explained to you and talked to you about with kindergartners, they have weather and climate, and I've looked over it, but I haven't looked over it in 2 years probably. But what is the difference between what they teach at kindergarten level in climate weather and what happens when it goes to third grade? And is there something that will help them to remember it, and giving them, again, this scenario that they don't really have it in school, again, until they get up to high school. So they know 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, for 6 years, there is nothing on weather and climate. Trying to get them to, I don't know, something they'll remember. And,
Yeah.
cool. Great discussion. Thank you, thank you. Okay. I want to also show you, I'm going to take my screen back. Thank you, Pete, for bringing that. And I'm going to come back to mine. And I'm going to show you, and again, just to show you, it doesn't have to be really something outrageous. It's just something that you have. And hopefully you see this. Do you see this over here? You're not seeing it? Okay, let me see if I can. I've got it. Screen 2. Oh. Oh. So you're not seeing 2 over, hang on.
Now we got
Now?
There it is.
Okay, good, very good. So, and again, it doesn't have to be anything elaborate. It's just a way to start thinking about it. And what they're doing is this is day school. This is Bridgeview Day School. Bridgeview Day School, I believe it is. It is a special needs school. So Bridgeview is, and I think I'm right on that. If anybody has another idea about that, that's okay. But the kids are going to design games and materials for other students. So that's just their basic project, which is fine. And so they're using, the students and the teachers are going to use the product, and the stakeholders, the secondary stakeholders as administrators. And they're fine with leaving this kind of open-ended. But again, and I'll talk with Leanne more about this, is to, it'd be good for her to do a little bit of back research to figure out, okay, what most schools and most students have difficulty in certain subjects. And it seems like most students have problems with math and some basic computation of math, and also some basic reading pieces. So it would be probably better to do math games as a possibility. So again, she would be doing some research on her own and then having the kids do some research. And the community partners, again, they're going to stay in their school for their first project, which is exactly right. So stay small, stay small. And expertise in their community is engineers, and what they're thinking about is engineers. And again, she's thinking, she really is. She's thinking about it, well, maybe we need engineers in here. And what is cool is that they could come up with some really interesting type of games. And Roberta has some expertise on this by her creating games before. And you saw this when she presented at our workshop. Yeah. I think, yeah, she did. It was about games that she did with her outreach to her community, and using just regular games and then expanding them and making them into some other kind of game. So, you know, that's not a bad thing. Then community partners, and she's saying middle school classes. And again, they do have classifications and traumatic experiences. So again, she's done some really good research on her clientele. Therapeutic nature, emotional behavioral issues. So thinking about that, and so probably they're not going to want to have, she'll have to think about this, but probably nothing that, you know, like marbles that you might throw or you might be able to eat, you know. You never know, some of those things. You got to kind of think about all that. Therapeutic days and 7 through 12 kids. They're low income and may not have assessment or money if needed. They give the duration of 1 to 3 months. And I think I'll talk, that might be a real aggressive thought that you could get through a project in 1 to 3 months. I don't know. Roberta, how long did it take you to do your games?
We only met once a week in a club setting. And so, oh, actually, no, this was the first time. We did it this year, and so it took a year club-wide. And then with the AP class, I was kind of basically once a week, and then we had some club kids help with making manipulatives along with that. So I'd say.
Okay. And I don't know how long, if she's going to do it as an after school or whatever. And then she's looking at projects with shelving being used and not enough space. So that's a secondary project, it looks like. So an organizational system for the games and materials. So she's doing both, I think. So again, she's just doing her basic homework of looking at what could be. What is a project, again, that could be specific, could be measurable, could be achievable, realistic, and a time constraints. So it doesn't have to be anything outrageous, just trying to get your thought process together. Okay? Okay, so any questions about that? We can talk with Leanne later. No? Okay. Okay. Felix and Daniel, do you have any thoughts? What we'll probably do with you guys, if you want to, we can, I'll look, here's the planning worksheet just to have it up. And I'll pull it over. But again, what would probably be better if you guys want to, if you want to work on it with the group at Latin, or if you want me, I mean, we could do another one of these with just Latin folk. We can do that. And, or you guys can do it just in yourself together and then turn it back in. So, okay. Daniel, did you?
Yeah, I don't, well, I mean, I think all we can say at this point is that we need to talk to everybody.
I agree.
Because we haven't seen each other for almost
more than 2 weeks.
So how long do you have break? A 2-week break?
We have spring. We had project week, then spring break started last week. So we have 1 more week.
Okay.
Classes are back in section next week.
Okay.
So we should next week.
Okay.
And project week is like a full week of out of the classroom learning experiences, some of which are out of town. So nobody's in school, even though they're all.
Steven was in Iceland. So.
It sounds wonderful. It really does. What an experience for your kids. Sounds great. Very cool. So, well, I'm just really thrilled that Latin, especially Latin school, how many people you have in your group. I mean, seven people in your group. Wow, awesome. And your EPICS projects, you might want to start off small, but it doesn't have to be confined to an engineering class or Felix, your after-school class. It doesn't have to be confined that way. So it can go, design is design, whether it's engineering or whatever, but, working together, I could see where you could have some really interesting projects going on. And Roberta and Pete, you guys got a good thing going. This is I want to say, your second year or third year?
Third year.
Third year, yeah. So I can see how it just really expands as you get into this and get more confident in the projects. Very good. Okay. Well, what we're going to do is, first of all, I want to let you guys know that our training at Purdue is the 7th through the 10th, and Motorola will pay for your teams to come to the EPICS at Purdue. We're looking at, again, those workshops and really going into the curriculum more. And also we'll have people from all over the United States there. And we'll have some special guests with nanotechnology, being able to use the EPICS lab at Purdue for prototyping. And then also we've got some our outreach people from the School of Computer Science that are going to help us do some apps and creating apps. So getting some basic knowledge that will help to do some things. I'm also working with Arduino, and also I would love, I'm hoping to get this together, of some creating some wearable lily pad art that if we, I could see some really interesting projects that could come from understanding that kind of a technology. So we're just going to see how all that kind of flies. So.
Patty Cushion from Latin.
Yes.
Her project week was actually making wearable electronic devices.
Then
they made a whole bunch. You may want to contact her.
I will do that. Yay! That would be great. You could just ask her.
Yeah, she actually showed me some of them. They have all these sweaters with lights and all sort of things, and bags and all of that.
That's it. That's cool. Because I can see where it could be used in so many ways for, like, how every school has crossing guards that have to walk kids across. And, kids who are walking in the dark, and I think I told you that earlier, at my school.
Right.
So, yeah, good. All right. Boy, she does not know what you just told me.
Nope. Don't say it was me.
It'll be anonymous. Anonymous, but Felix said. All right. Well, thank you guys for all your help and all your, wading through this project and wading through these pieces. We'll have your certificates to you. I'm going to send them to your principals so that they know that you've accomplished this, and so hopefully they can make a big deal out of it at your school. So we want to make sure that happens. So, good. Thank you. And please think about coming in the summer. And I definitely am going to get Patty to see if we can't get her to do this. So, okay. Anything else anybody wants to say?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right. Have a good evening.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.